Hello, welcome guys back to the channel. This is Mavri here with another episode of Jibaku Shounen Hanako-kun. So, last time we were left off, we learned a little bit more about the backstory of Hanako, aka Amane. More particularly, we learned that he has this, I presume, a pretty complex relationship with his brother, who looks very much like him and is now haunting him, and might also be, have been, actually, killed by Amane, aka Hanako, right? Although, I'm not gonna go through all that there. I already made some theory crafting in the last episode. You can check that out if you like. More to the point, though, I think we're not actually going to touch on that story point as of right now, because we got some other ghost slash spirit slash shenanigans to deal with. One particular, I believe his name is Mitsuba, who is apparently a fan favorite of you guys who have watched the anime. So let's see what exactly is gonna go down over there. I don't think he's one of the wonders. So and also it might be a good time to see how Minamoto handles the situation. Alrighty, so I skipped the opening and let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright, that's what we were left of last episode. Yeah, Mitsuba? Wait. Yeah, show him who's boss. Photography? Yeah, that's your regret. Hmm. What do you want to take? Yeah, good job. Jibaku? Oh, a fairly recent death.
同じクラスだったじゃん。そうなのか？そうだよ。まあクラス離れたし、よくわかんないよね。三つ葉。てかどこ見てんの？三つ葉。
はじめまして。僕は三葉宗介。しばらく名前順だから君の前の席よろしくね。
Okay, he's much more tolerable here.
ほう？よこ！湯気終わってんぞ！あ、やっば。じゃあね。
友達だと思ってた人、片っ端から全員声かけてみたけど、誰も僕をわからなかった。でも僕は覚えてたよ。
Mm.
雨降ってきたね。校舎に入ろっか。僕、小学校の頃いじめられっ子でさ。
なんで？
女っぽいとか生意気とか、そういうふわっとした理由で。
ああ。
納得しないでくれ。ああ、だから中学からはうまくやろうと思ったんだよね。生意気言わないようにして空気読んで愛想を良くして、誰とでもふわっと仲良くして、その結果がこれ。存在感のいまいち薄い地味なやつ。いじめられはしなかったけどね。友達もできなかった。だからかな。死んでも誰も僕を気に留めてくれなくて。それで。
って噂か。なるほどな。生意気。女顔。口が悪い。わがまま。声がうるせえ。カメラオタク。たまにくれ。あと猫かぶり。
なんだよ。
三葉宗介ってどんなやつって聞かれたら、俺はそう答える。悪かったな。気づいてやれなくて。1年の頃と全然印象違えから分かんなかった。お前さ、無理しなくてもよかったんじゃねえの？そのまんまで。確かにいい性格してんなって思うけど、俺は嫌いじゃねえし。
今更遅いよ。
そうだな。
I mean, can you really fault others for not being able to recognize him?
僕ら友達になれたかな。
死んでたって友達になっていいんじゃねえの？
Yeah.
何撮ってんだ？空か？
そう。僕にとって価値のあるもの。
At least he's happy now, right? Too bad that it had to be after he died.
そしたらもうきっと大丈夫だから。
そうか。
But yeah, making friends is hard. I'm not gonna deny that.
昇降口で待って。みつばくん。困るなあ、勝手なことされるの。
花子。いや、ちげえ。誰だこいつ。
Oh, this guy's smart.
俺に何にも言わずに行っちゃおうだなんて。ダメだよ。
Huh. That's a cool kind of concept. So, spreading the rumors of him, Mitsuba? So everybody will continue to remember him? A broken neck, eh? Maybe that has to do with how he died. Oh boy, Delu. Oh. Mm. Right, so the rumors feed back onto him, and so he turns into the apparition befitting of the rumors, right? That artwork is pretty good. Broken neck. By the way, I'm not too worried about him because, in a sense, I think you guys kind of spoiled it by saying that he's an important character. Alright. So he's an anarchist. That makes sense. I guess he's technically correct. Ah, mischievous little boy, this one. Oh, he's trying to break his neck, right? Yay! Hanako. Wait, you already said this last episode.
こないだ屋上で会ったばっかりだね。どうしてこんなことを。つかさ、俺好きなんだよね。我慢するのやめた人の顔。
Oh, is he?
あの時もよかったよ。あまねが俺を殺した時。いいね、その顔。好きだよ、あまね。また一緒に遊ぼう。昔みたいに。
I am so curious, like, what the circumstances were.
無駄だよ。少年、死はおしまいなんだ。霊体になって死眼をさまよったって、それは生の続きじゃない。死んでしまったらそこで終わり。それ以上は何もなくて、もう何も始まらない。どんなに悔やんで願ったところで、生きている時できなかったことは、死んでしまった後にもできないのさ。そういう世界の仕組みに抗うと、こんな風になってしまう。君なら彼の未練を、この志願への執着を断ち切ってあげられるかと思ったけど、逆効果だったみたいだね。ダメだよ、あまり死者に優しくしたら。だって俺たちにはもう未来なんてないんだから。
Well, that's kind of heavy. Wait, was I actually wrong and he's gonna die? I mean, for realsy die?少年が気にすることないよ。死者にとっての救いはきっと消滅だけなんだから。これでよかったんだ。よくねえ、全然よくねえよ。それに消えるのだけが救いだとか、そんなこと言うな。
仕組みがあって、それは多分どうにもならないってことなんだろうって。そんなことくらい分かってるけど、この世ならざる怪異たちの姿が見えたり、それに干渉する力が与えられたのは、
Wow, is he really gone?
どうにもならないを少しでもどうにかするためだって、俺はまだ思ってる。よくわかんねえ。
And the only actual photo is of him, right? Yep.
何撮ってんだ？
そう、僕にとって価値のあるもの。
Damn. Wasn't expecting this at all. Alright. See you guys after this. That was unexpected. Alrighty, so that was certainly a surprising ending. I went into this fully expecting that this Mitsuba character would continue to be one of the recurring characters, maybe one of the allies of Hanako and company, but apparently not. Well, that came as much of a surprise. With that being said, however, you know, I mentioned within the episode how I wasn't getting too shocked or too concerned about him because, you know, I thought that everything would turn out fine in the end. But really, I want to bring up another, I guess I will have to say, negative about this episode in particular. And it's not against Mitsuba, right? Don't get me wrong. I actually like this kind of characters. You know, the sort that really have their own personality, if you will. Likes to make some very sharp and rude remarks, as long as they eventually get settled down and form a good sort of form a good sort of relationship or bond with the main characters and whatnot. Then it becomes funny, right? It turns from annoying to being funny and still annoying in a bit, but at least adorably annoying, right? So it's not a case of Mitsuba in particular. I like this kind of character. However, I do feel that for this episode in particular, the time we spent with him was simply not enough, right? I mean, sure, I can get the entire concept that they were trying to push for and so on and so forth, but honestly, it's like way too early. There's way too little screen time of him interacting with all the others, of them actually having time to form a real bond in order to feel sorry for him, right? Like, you know, apologies if you guys think that I am heartless for that, but that's just the truth, right? Particularly for me, if I don't see a character, I can't relate with this character, or I don't see them actually developing a rapport with the other characters, and by extension the viewers, so he's gone, right? So what, right? And so I don't know. I feel like this might be a case where the adaptation of this was a little bit rushed. If it wasn't, then I gotta say that if even in the original manga it was sort of like this and didn't really have that much time with them having some heart-to-hearts and whatnot, then I would say probably it would be quite underdeveloped as well, right? For instance, here, you know, you're suddenly all of a sudden you're turning into friends, even though we never really see if they even talked at all, right? You know, how can you say you're friends, you're very good friends, and a friend that you can cry over, if your bond is literally less than a few hours, right? That just doesn't seem realistic, right? And I feel like what should have happened here, and correct those who have read the manga could probably correct me, but they probably should have spent a lot more time together. Typically the way that these things kind of go, judging from experiences in other works, is maybe they would spend up to a week with each other, something sort of like that, really get to know each other, really get to know their quirks and whatnot, eventually gradually turning from this awkwardness with each other into something forming a real bond, a real friendship, so on and so forth. And then you do the ending here where, you know, he's forcibly taken and is ceases to exist, right? Can't really say he died because he already died before. Ceases to exist, right? And that would be a much more powerful thing and scene than what we see here, right? So I gotta say, at least in this regard, I really don't think that they showed the scene really well, right? And so again, not anything against Mitsuba in particular, and if it was different in the manga, do let me know as well. We also got yet again, so it is confirmed that Amane's little brother should be a little brother. I think. Name is. Wait, what was his name again? Tsukasa? I think so, right? I mean, I kind of forgot what his name was, but I mean, I guess it's not. Yeah, it should be Tsukasa. Right, yeah, I remember it's Tsukasa. So, I do like this interesting concept of them being, like, opposites of each other, like one taking care of the living, one taking care of the dead, so on and so forth, and we do see a little glimpse of the actual killing scene. We can see a Amane over Tsukasa with a bloody knife by its side and whatnot. So we do get the sense that yeah, something really bad did happen in the past. Now I'm still holding on to my theory that probably something happened that caused. There's more to the story, right? I have a hard time believing that Amane simply killed him out of the blue. There must have been some other backstory to this. And again, it's really intriguing what's actually going to happen here. But as you guys have said, apparently even in the manga, it hasn't really been developed yet. So I guess we shall just continue to see what is gonna happen over there. But I do like the sort of concept of them being opposites of each other, each having their own little agenda, if you will, and also how exactly Tsukasa is managing to reach his goals, right? With the help of Sakura, with the help of this special ability, spreading the rumors and whatnot, and fueling the different apparitions and monsters, and so on and so forth, right? So that was a pretty cool thing. And lastly, I'd like to talk about something, a concept which actually Amane mentioned here, but it's sort of like always been sort of the it was always sort of present, this sort of concept, but we never really got a chance to talk about it, right? And that is, Amane is not wrong, right? Even though at the very end there, it seems that he's very negative, right? Disregarding the entire dissonance that I have with the rapid development, I don't, the pacing of Mitsuba's relationship with Minamoto, it seemed kind of heartless even then, right? With Amane saying what he did there, and a general more defeatist kind of attitude, right? At the same time, though, you really can't say that his logic is wrong, because again, going back to this, what exactly are these ghosts and spirits and apparitions? They are exactly that, right? They are dead, and they are only here because they have some lingering regret or doubt or desire that has not been fulfilled, and so they cannot continue to pass on. And the ultimate goal here, no matter if it's, even if we're talking about Amane or Tsukasa, right? The ultimate goal should still be for them to pass on. The concept here, the concept of these kinds of ghosts and spirits that have lingering desires and whatnot, it's a very, I'd say it's more Buddhism inspired, right? And the ultimate goal of that is still for them to pass on, to re-enter the the cycle of reincarnation, and hopefully them being a spirit in the first place already means, well, does that actually, okay, I'm not I think, from what I understand, them being a ghost or spirit is in itself already one of the cycles of reincarnation. You were a living human, and then you died, but you had some lingering doubt, regrets and whatnot, so you were reincarnated into a ghost. That itself is also a step in the reincarnation process. But what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to allow them to carry on and re-enter the cycle of reincarnation and turn into something else, right? At least that's the way that I learned about it. And the difference between them being exercised versus them actually getting a chance to fulfill their regrets and desires, really just it's really just a question of whether or not once they pass on, they would be reincarnated into something good or something bad, right? That's generally the way that I understand it. And so, like, for instance, take Mitsuba, right? it doesn't really matter whether or not he was forcibly. I mean, it does matter, but I mean, the end result is the same, at least in terms of human perspective, right? Whether or not he was killed, or like again, we probably shouldn't say killed. He was exterminated, destroyed by Tsukasa, or he was exorcised by Minamoto, or he managed to pass on peacefully himself. The end result is still the same, right? He's supposed to leave from this land of living and go on to another place, hopefully a better place. So even though it's a really sort of defeatist attitude, a very gloomy kind of outlook that Amane has at the very end there, I gotta say that's not wrong. And in fact, that's what we should also expect for the ending of Amane himself as well, even though he is one of the main characters, right? It's been said that he's put here by someone with a higher power. So I guess even though by definition a Jibaku spirit would be one of the lingering spirits of some sorts, more of the ghost slash spirit characters in terms of the entire reincarnation cycle. You could also argue that he's probably a sort of demigod in a sort of way, since he does have more authority and jurisdiction over all the other spirits as well. It's kind of, it's not entirely clear cut in regards to all that, but anyways, my entire point is still that, regardless of all the relationships that he makes here on this world and so on and so forth, the ultimate goal is still for him to pass on. And obviously that's probably going to have something to do with his entire backstory in terms of the reason why he's not able to continue on and so on and so forth is probably also something to do with what exactly happened between him and Tsukasa. So it goes for both of them, I'm guessing. But once that entire thing is resolved, they really shouldn't be here in this school anymore as a spirit or apparition. They should be gone. And so I guess that's I'm not really sure where to go with this, but I guess it's a sort of dissonance, I guess you could say, because the main characters and the people that we care about within this anime are indeed these ghosts and spirits, but then we also have to take in mind that we do have a ultimate goal of wanting them to feel satisfied. Of course, no need to be mean about it. Let them be satisfied, fulfill the things that they weren't able to fulfill whilst they were living, but then still ultimately the end goal of this is to say goodbye. Right. So just wanted to point that out as a sort of, it's a sort of ironic thing if you think about it, but that's just the way things go. So there we go. That was it for my review of episode 8 of Hanako-kun, and I will see you guys next week. So until then, bye bye.